Good morning. Let's discuss a few drawing techniques. When you're drafting, everything has to be very accurate, which is why we have you tape your paper down to the table using your parallel bar to make sure that it is evenly taped down to your table and that it doesn't move when you're working with it. Okay. Now, some other drawing in general, some drawing techniques would be in the instance of, let's say, this 4 foot by 5 foot 6 inch rectangle that we were drawing. What I want to do to draw that, again, 4 foot by 5 foot 6 inches, I got to start somewhere, so I'm just going to draw a light line right here. You'll probably barely see that. Hopefully you see it some. But you want to start with light lines again, so that in case you have to come back and erase and change some things. Okay, now I want to mark this, I want to mark out a segment of that that's going to be 4 feet long using the 3/4 inch scale. So I'll line the 0 up. If I don't have a clear end to my line, I might want to just go ahead and put a little dot there. Then I'll measure out 4 feet, and there's a dot there. So that's going to be the width of my rectangle. Now I have to use my drawing tools, such as my parallel bar and my triangles to draw this. And again, I'm drawing light lines. Draw these two verticals because they have to be straight. You have to have a 90-degree angle right there. These two lines have to be perfectly perpendicular. Okay, so now I'm going to measure using my 3/4 scale again, I'm going to measure 5 foot 6 inches. So there's 4, 5, 6 inches. Put a little mark there, and then use my parallel bar to make a perfectly horizontal line going across like that. Okay, now when I've got that done, I can go back again, still using my tools, and I can darken in the lines I'm going to keep. And usually what I do is just, as I'm drawing, I go and get all my horizontal lines, then I go back and get all my vertical lines. And I want it as perfectly as I possibly can make it. All right, and then I can go back from here and I can erase some of these additional lines that I don't need. All right, and then I'll use my brush here to brush things away. Okay, now what I want to do is dimension this line or this rectangle, and I'm going to use a regular ruler. Typically I'll use a graphing ruler. You don't have to use a graphing ruler, and I don't think I have enough of those to go around. So there's actually an actual ruler on your architect's scale, and it is right here. It's marked with a 16, and that is just regular inches. Okay, so I use that because I want to come down, I want to measure down 1/8 of an inch to put this particular, so is that 1/8? Yep, to put this dimension line. Actually, and of course this really depends, it's going to be different based on your drawing, and I think I want to go, just for the video purposes, and you can go ahead and do this too, just go out to 1/4 of an inch. Just as long as you have a measurement, you have a distance and it's the same all the way around, and that it's also consistent with whatever the company, if you're working for a company and you guys have a specific way of doing that, you have to kind of follow that criteria. So this is a dimension line. I'm going to draw a light line, and then I'm going to measure 1/4 of an inch. Lost my ruler. There it is. Okay, 1/4 of an inch out to the side. And that's going to be my vertical dimension line. Because this is a rectangle, just a perfect rectangle, I only have to dimension 2 sides because I'm obviously going to know what this dimension is and this dimension once I get this done. Okay. Now what I do is I extend what we call extension lines that come from the model itself out to the dimension line, okay? So this is a dimension line, this is an extension line. I don't touch the actual geometry of the actual product. Okay, I come out about a 1/16 of an inch and then just draw a straight vertical just like that. And I'll do the same thing over here. Come out about a 1/16 of an inch. And actually I want to go past my dimension line a little bit. I didn't do that over here. And I really messed that up. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same here, but horizontally. Okay, and then the same up here. Okay, so those are my extension lines. The next thing I'll do is I'm going to put a 45-degree mark across these lines so that it stands out as the execution point of that particular dimension, of that dimension line. So that's where I'm measuring. That number that's going to be in there is going to represent that space right there. Okay, so I can go ahead and darken in just the part of the line I need. There's a cricket in here. I'm sure you probably hear that. Let's see if I can take care of it. Okay, so now we have our dimension lines. Now this is our 4-foot side, this is our 5-foot 6-inch side. So I also need to write the dimension in here. When you write the dimensions, it goes above the line, okay? And of course that would be different depending on your company's policy and or the style of drawing that you're doing. Mechanical engineering will be a little bit different on their drawings, but for architectural drawing, we're going to put the text above the line, okay? So our text has to be of an appropriate size, and I'm going to get a little closer here. And everything, again, we're talking about consistency and professionalism here. So I'm going to make my text is going to be 1/8 of an inch tall. Okay, my text is going to be 1/8 of an inch tall. So I'm going to come here inside of this line that I drew. I'm on the right, on the wrong ruler. Okay, so make sure you're on that side that says 16, just like that right there. And you're measuring a true 1/8 of an inch, or not 1/8 of an inch, I'm sorry. Now my space for my lettering is going to be 1/8 of an inch wide, okay? To get that space, I'm going to mark at the 1/16 point here. I'm going to mark at the 3/16 point. Okay, so that gives me 1/8 of an inch space between those two dots, and it also gives me space under the geometry and above that dimension line. Okay, and then take my parallel bar, get lined up really well, and very light lines, because these lines are not important here. These are just your guidelines to guide you through drawing them. Okay, I drew them a little bit darker so that you can see them. Might need to do some work on that one. Okay, so now you can see that's where your text goes, in that space. And I would just write my text using up the space very neatly, okay? And you know, everybody kind of develops their own writing style, but it's got to be very neatly. 4 feet 0 inches. All right, so there's my dimension. And I would do the same up over here, but I would write 5 feet 6 inches, and this might require me to turn my paper around this way to do that side, which that's okay to do that. If you had a big drawing and you were dimensioning it, you'd go in and write in all of your horizontals first, and and then flip your paper around and get all of your verticals, but they'll be turned this way, so they'll be easier to see and easier to write in, just like that.